Back with more Avatar: The Last Airbender. This is episode 4 of season 1. Very excited to continue, see what's going to happen next. We've got a lot of, characterization going on. I'm really excited to see where a lot of these kind of arcs are going to go for some characters. In particular, Zuko, I think, has the potential to be someone quite interesting. There's obviously a lot more to him that we haven't really delved into yet. And he kind of went through his own little battle with that jerk guy in the last one, which ended up going in his way, so that was cool, with his badass uncle. So I liked everything with that, and then we had Aang and the others kind of go to the Southern Air Temple. They're all dead, which isn't ideal. So I guess we'll see how that goes, but the journey continues, I suppose, and Aang seems to have, he's starting to find his other family in these other guys that are with him, since he may be the last airbender, as the show title would suggest. So I'm excited to see where they're going to go next, how the journey will advance from here. So let's get into the next one.
You taught me that keeping a level head is a sign of a great leader. Now, whatever you have to say, I'm sure I can take it.
Oh dear.
Okay, then. We had no idea
What?
You really should open the window in here.
Give me the map.
Agreed.
That's great, eh?
Yeah.
I didn't even look.
You need to give girls space when they do their sewing.
What does me being a girl have to do with sewing?
Simple. Girls are better at fixing pants than guys, and guys are better at hunting and fighting and stuff like that. It's just the natural order of things.
All done with your pants, and look what a great job I did.
Yeah.
Wait.
I mean, you asked for that.
Where we're going, you won't need any pants.
What kind of show is this?
But I was tired already. Aren't you, boy? I said, aren't you, boy?
Yeah, that was real convincing. Still, hard to argue with the 10-ton magic.
He's still adventurous, wants to explore.
Look!
Damn. That does look like fun. Aww.
Oh man.
It's no fun if they're not watching. Uh-oh. Oh, there's always a bigger fish.
What was that thing? I don't know.
Well, let's not stick around to find out. Time to hit the road.
Yes. Oh, or maybe not. No. The disrespect to Momo.
Or we could stay a while. There's no way a bunch of girls took us down.
A bunch of girls, huh? The Unagi's gonna eat well tonight.
Yeah.
Don't hurt him. He didn't mean it. My brother's just an idiot.
I see what they're going for with his character this episode.
My fault.
She's been dead for centuries.
I know her because I'm the Avatar.
Yeah.
That's impossible.
She lives
The last
in
Avatar
you.
was an airbender.
Throw the imposter to the Unagi.
You can try.
Hang, do some airbending.
It's true. You are the Avatar.
Now, check this out.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. Damn. Start spreading the news. Oh.
The Avatar's on Kyoshi Island? Uncle.
Oh, that was unfortunate. Oh, is it like restarted their real passion to Avatar loving?
Dessert for breakfast. These people
The
should
dream.
be around.
Not hungry.
But you're always hungry. He's just upset because a bunch of girls kicked his butt yesterday.
They snuck
Yeah.
up on me.
Right. And then they kicked your butt.
Sneak attacks don't count. Tie me up with ropes, and I'll show them a thing or two. I'm not scared of any girls. Who do they think they are?
You don't need to be.
It's risky for us to stay in one place for very long. I'm sure we'll be fine. Besides, you see how happy
No,
I'm
no.
making this town?
It's like he's joined a boy band or something.
The Avatar. Which is the other? Oh, there's another one.
Oh dear.
There's more.
Sorry, ladies, didn't mean to interrupt your dance lesson. I was just looking for somewhere to get a little workout.
Well, You're in the right place. Maybe you'd be kind enough to give us a little demonstration.
Oh, well, I mean,
Come on, girls. Wouldn't you like
Talk
to
the
show
talk,
some
buddy.
moves?
Now walk the walk.
But try to block me.
Anything else you want to teach us?
Well, that showed him.
There she is, girls. Me in a past life.
Oh, look at Momo passed out.
But there's something I really like about this place. What's taking you
Yes.
so long? Jealous that we're having so much fun without you.
That's ridiculous.
It is a little ridiculous, but I understand.
If he was a few years older before he got frozen, it would be a different situation. He'd understand the mission a bit, I guess.
I'm sorry if I insulted you earlier. I was wrong.
We
If
normally
you
don't
insulted
teach
her.
outsiders, but you have to follow all of our traditions.
Of course.
And I mean all of them.
Oh no.
Bravery and honor.
Hey, Sokka. Nice dress.
Jeez.
It's gonna be real dangerous.
Good for you.
You're not gonna stop me?
Nope. Have fun.
I will.
Great.
I know it's great.
Oh, I'm glad you know.
I'm glad you're glad.
Good.
Fine.
Think of the fan as an extension of your arm. Wait for an opening and then...
Oh. You did a thing.
I fell on purpose to make you feel better.
I got you. Admit I got you.
If he learns new techniques and stuff like this, he can be a really good fighter, can't he? Well, an even better
I'm
one.
sure we'll be here any second. What about this? Not that again. Boring.
Yeah, they're getting bored of him now.
It's getting late. Where are you going? Don't leave. Sorry, eh? Maybe next time.
Fake fans. But she's a true fan.
Shut up.
I wanted to make sure you were safe.
Is the thing gonna attack you? Here we go. Oh, damn. Yeah. Hello. Cool.
Zuko!
Yeah. It's shut eventually. He's just gonna get instantly taken out by that thing. That would be quite funny. Ah, nice.
Katara. Don't ride the Unagi. Not fun.
Everyone's learning some lessons today. Big fan of their weapons. Ha. Oh, rude. Yeah. Surely using fans would be like really good for like air powers. Whoa! Damn. He was killed instantly. Yeah, the damage that's been done from him being there. Oh. It's still standing. The legacy remains. It's just a bit sizzled.
I know it feels wrong to run, but I think it's the only way.
I'll call Appa.
I can't stay in the same place for ages.
I treated you like a girl when I should have treated you like a warrior.
I am a warrior. But I'm a girl, too. Now get out of here. We'll hold them off.
That's cool. She doesn't like define herself by the line. It's both one or the other. Oh.
What are you doing?
It's the plan to use that thing. Oh! He's gonna master this. Oh, he's gonna like put out the fire with the spray. That's quite cool. It's like, this little bitch. Okay, that was another really great episode. Love this one a lot. You can definitely get a sense now, you know, when I was like first starting off the show and saying I was going to do it, people kind of saying, it's very kind of mature, even though it's like, an animated thing and everything, and they tackle some really, adult and serious themes. And you can definitely get a sense of that. We had genocide in the last one. And then this one, there's a lot of like things about toxic masculinity and femininity and the kind of the imbalance there, which I thought was really cool and very well done through Sokka as a character. I liked everything with him. That's probably my favourite kind of story of the episode, actually, is what they did with Sokka's character in this one. The kind of little journey that he went on. So they set it up nicely at the start when Katara was doing the sewing, and he was like, oh, girls are better at that. Well, just leave girls to it when they do that. Just kind of getting it in his head and, showing us that that's kind of his opinion on the matter. The incorrect one, of course, but that is the point they were going for. And by the end, I think he has come to learn a bit of a lesson there. So as long as he doesn't just revert straight back to that, which can often be the case with some cartoons. I feel like Avatar's not going to be one of those examples, though. It just like pretends previous episodes didn't really happen. I don't think that's kind of how this is going to go, which is good. But yeah, I liked seeing him, see that masculinity, being a guy isn't the be-all and end-all, and that women aren't weak. They can be strong, and I like even when he learnt his lesson, there was still a bit more to it than that. So he was kind of saying, I shouldn't have treated you like a girl, I should have treated you like a warrior. But I think her name was Suki. She was like, I'm a warrior and a girl. You're not just one or the other. And I like that, kind of speaking that people can do different things, and what body parts they have doesn't mean they can't be interested in sewing or fighting, all these things. And I think a lot of that, comes from Sokka being like the best fighter in his village, and seeming like the only guy in his village like around his age as well, it would seem. So he's so used to being the one who had to like look after all the younger people and kind of train them up, and we saw a bit of that in those opening episodes as well, when he was like, no bathroom breaks. So he's had that whole life kind of ingrained into him, and that's not necessarily his fault, because that was the situation he was in. That's how he spent his life. He may not have known any more outside of that, because I don't think they especially travel the world all that much. So I like him then being brought here and feeling very emasculated when he's taken out by a bunch of girls and saying that they're just dancing, and he's come to do a proper kind of training session, and then they could just completely show him up and taught him a new different style as well, which I liked, because it can just make him an even better fighter later on down the line if he has all these different skill sets. Because it's good that we have like the Avatar who ultimately can kind of master all the elements, and then we could have a character like Sokka who's not an Avatar, but maybe he could be like an avatar of lots of different like martial arts or different fighting styles and stuff. So he has like a different roster of techniques he could fall back on depending on what threats or enemies they're facing later on down the line. I think that could be a really interesting thing. So while he may not necessarily have all these powers and stuff, like Aang will hopefully be able to possess like the powers of all the elements and probably be great at them all. And we already have Katara being a waterbender and everything. It'd still be cool if he has his thing as well, and he feels like he can still like contribute stuff. So I really liked everything they did with his kind of arc in this episode, and hopefully he kind of takes that and moves on with it for the rest of the show as well. He doesn't unlearn that, because that was a really fun lesson and a great message, I think, for again a show that aired on like Nickelodeon that kids would have watched. It's a good thing to kind of imprint on them very young, that what gender you are or identify as doesn't therefore define anything else you do and what actions you do, what your interests are. So I liked that story a lot, and yeah, it's probably my favourite kind of aspect of things. I really did enjoy that. I also liked seeing Kyoshi, I can't remember how exactly they pronounced it, this other new kind of place for us to visit, and the fact that they had like all female warriors there, it would seem, like the fans and everything. It was really, I seem like they're going to find lots of cool ways of using like all the different elements as powers. So we have like these warriors that, you know, they have fans and stuff that they kind of use as like an extension of their bodies for when they're like in combat. And Aang was able to use that then to create a really powerful like blast of air that pushed Zuko away. Really interesting way of changing things up, and it's not just like, oh, it's gonna, I guess Aang and Zuko are gonna have another fight. He's gonna throw some fire. Aang is gonna jump and fly around in the air. They can change things up by introducing third parties, like everyone in Kyoshi. So that was really cool. I liked seeing that new setting. Those giant koi fish were a really interesting idea as well. I like that, you know, a bit more world building there, like these crazy creatures that they kind of have in this world. We've seen it already with Appa. So getting a glimpse of some other creatures and like some sea creatures like that big ass unagi thing, and how that seemed to be like a playful setup for why Aang actually wanted to stop in this place at all, and then he ended up being quite worshipped as the Avatar. And I liked the little kind of side story of those girls being obsessed with him and then getting bored with him eventually, because I feel like that can be how fan culture is sometimes. They may have just burnt themselves out, and how despite what Katara wanted for Aang, you know, he let it get to his head, and then he got a bit insecure then, I guess, when Katara was distancing herself a bit, and maybe she was a bit, you know, sad that he was focusing on that instead of maybe the mission and leaving, because it meant just because she wasn't one of those fangirls, she was a bit on the outside a bit. And while Sokka also had his own thing going on with Suki and all those warriors, it did feel like Katara was a bit lonely in that place, so of course you'd want to move on. But Aang was also insecure that Katara's not always going to be there to like watch him do something cool. And I think as he matures, because obviously he's old, but he's not mature yet because he's still, you know, a kid mentally after 100 years in the ice. So once, you know, kind of grows up a bit, I think he won't have to overly rely on people like Katara or Sokka. But it makes sense right now because after the last episode, he just kind of found a family in them, and they were saying, you know, we're going to look after you, we're your family. So of course he's going to overly rely and get very attached to them right now because they're like the only people in the world to him currently. So when like she wasn't watching him do some cool tricks, or she wasn't watching him ride around on the koi thing because she was concerned with other things, you know, that clearly got into his insecurity. So when everyone else started paying that attention to him in the village, he really kind of attached himself to that idea. And yeah, it did get to his head a bit, but you know, when you're that young, I think it makes sense, and you absolutely would. And they both kind of learned a lesson through that story as well by the end. Because no matter what, I think Katara will always, when it counts and when it's needed and when it's necessary, you know, she will be there for Aang. But I think she's also aware that he's going to need to develop himself as well. He can't just always rely on praise and worship from others, because how on earth will he ultimately like master all the elements then? 'Cause mastering those elements and becoming the full Avatar, embracing that, is going to rely on him and him to act as himself and be himself and form his identity that way, as opposed to just getting distracted because Katara's a bit busy today, so you know she can't see him do this cool stuff. So I like everything with that, and I think that's starting some cool journeys with them. And I also just enjoy Katara like knocking Sokka down a peg every single time. He's a bit sexist, but again, hopefully he's kind of learned his lesson with that in this episode. But I love Katara's kind of, she has that knowledge of her self-worth, I think, and so did Suki. And I think that's what Aang will need to work on once he kind of matures a bit. And that's also what Sokka also needs to work on, because I think he's a very insecure person. Maybe, you know, well, we saw how it got to him when he felt a bit, you know, demasculated. Is that even the word? I don't know. Unmasculated, demasculated, something like that. Because he didn't even eat anything, and the whole of the last episode, you know, he was desperately hungry for the entire thing, and his arc was like, I want food. So I feel like if he does even one little mistake, that's gonna like haunt him for weeks and weeks, and he's gonna feel like a failure. So I think he has that potential to just be like, oh, I'm not good enough. My sister's this cool waterbender, and we're also hanging out with the Avatar. He's going to feel a bit small, I think, hanging around with those kind of personalities with these cool powers. Which is why I think him like learning different skill sets and everything could be really good for him, and his own mental growth as well, his personal growth. So some really interesting arcs in this one. I like that everyone ultimately learned a big lesson, I think, about themselves and about the people that they're going to be spending all this time with, and where they need to be in their quest as well. You know, Aang's still very young at heart, so he's going to want to explore and have fun and, you know, ride these creatures and just enjoy himself like that. But there's also a very serious mission going on right now, and after what he discovered in the last episode, I think it makes sense that he'd be like, you know what, I need a break from knowing that my people are dead. Can't I just have a bit of fun? But then shit hits the fan, and I think he needs to realise that Zuko and, you know, the Fire Nation are always going to be very close behind him, and that's going to cause destruction wherever he goes until they can kind of sort the situation out. So maybe then they won't be able to stay anywhere for a particularly long period of time. They're just going to have to keep moving, keep running until they can kind of stop Zuko and the Fire Nation and everything. Which is kind of a sad situation, really, because it means you can't feel that you belong anywhere necessarily, especially with Aang. I think he'll struggle with that because he went to the temple in the last episode, and he's kind of alone now. He's the last Airbender. So lots of interesting journeys there. But yeah, we've got a bit of Zuko just being like the typical, we need to track him down, and I like what they did at the start with him. He was like, Uncle, you always told me a good leader will like to keep his composure and not let things get to him. And then he tells him that they don't know where Aang is, and he like all the candles go. So he still has some things to learn about himself and control over himself as well. But you know, that wasn't done as much detail as the other arcs with the other characters in this episode. But Zuko was kind of more of a backseat in this one. And yeah, we've got some cool action sequences when they did arrive at Kyoshi, and a bit of a battle going on there. And they're off again, Zuko not far behind. Yeah, looking forward to seeing what's going to come next. I don't know if there are other like temples that they can explore. Going to be other villages for them to destroy, but either way, I'm excited for that. And I like how they set up Aang just wanted to have a bit of fun, ride that Unagi creature, and then he ended up using that to put all the fire out of the town at the end. That was really nice how they brought that back into it. Very kind of clever writing with that. So it could have just been like a fun action sequence. Oh no, Aang nearly got eaten by the Unagi thing. Oh dear, what's he like? But then they actually brought that back as like a resolution to the big conflict at the end. So that was very clever. And just that instinct that Aang had, like, I can't just run away quite like this. Obviously we need to leave to keep them safe, but I've brought destruction and everything to their village. The least he could do is like put out the fire at least to help them rebuild, and so they don't lose that much. So I enjoyed that. The symbolism of the statue of that woman as well, and the old avatars. The fact that it had been quite worn down over time and not looked after as much, and then when Aang arrives, it kind of restores their faith in the avatars. They paint it all up again, restore it, and then the Fire Nation burns it down again, like burning the legacy of the Avatar, because obviously Zuko and the Fire Nation are after the Avatar right now. But ultimately it was left standing by the end of the episode, just like the legacy of the Avatar can be, because Aang stood out there, hopefully able to live up to that legacy one day. I don't know when, probably season 3 maybe, because that's the last season, but I don't know. Either way, I'm excited for more, and I really did enjoy this episode a lot. Some great character stuff, particularly the arc with Sokka I really liked. I think it's nice to know that a lot of kids would have watched that episode when they were really young, and that could be ingrained in them for most of their lives. That's a really good message to them, quite young. So yeah, awesome episode, loved it a lot, and I look forward to seeing what's going to happen next, which will be episode 4. So no, episode 5. This was episode 4. Oh my god, time is fleeting. Anyway, really great episode, and until my next reaction, thanks for watching.